Hey guys, this is Hell Hades. This is a Raid Shadow Legends video. Happy Valentine's Day, if that's something you celebrate. I never know if these kind of like different days are a worldwide thing or if it's just like certain countries or whatever. But for me, it's Valentine's Day today. So I'm celebrating by making a power couples video. I might even treat Lady H to a spot of lunch. We will see. Anyway, what we're going to do today is basically rate all of the different couples in the game on the tier list. Why not? Let's do a bit of a fun one. And I'd love to know if you think different to me. I'm going to call it out super early, right? I got my editor to get a bunch of these like couples things pulled together. The different portraits, they're blended together nicely. And I sent him the wrong name for Gravechill. And he's out right now, so I can't even replace it. But this is meant to be Gravechill and Frozen Banshee. He's put the Frostbringer in there. That's my bad, though. That's my bad. The rest of it should be good. You're probably going to be shocked by the amount of couples there actually are in Raid. There's way more than you realize. So it's going to be a case of, are they actually good or are they trash? And I'll give you a little kind of like talk through where I would use them if I was going to use them in couples mode. So I'd like to thank Watcher of Realms for sponsoring this video. And right now, they just dropped one of the biggest, baddest summon events they've ever done in the game. So Lust has just entered the game, who's freaking sweet, and she partners up with Arrogance. They're both going to be on a Valentine's special summon, but Lust is actually a limited time champion. You're guaranteed to get Lust if you pull 250 of the normal summons when the event goes live. Now, probably sounds like a lot, but you get tons of different summons in this game for free. Plus, you can literally sell rares in this game. You can sell them off and you get diamonds back, and diamonds becomes shard pools in this game. They do a great job of allowing you to have tons of resources to get this type of thing in game, which is super cool. I do have a separate Watcher of Realms YouTube channel that you can go to in the link down below. You can also download using my link down below and get involved. It's a really, really cool strategy game. So Lust is touted as potentially one of the best fighters in the game. And she's going to be on that limited summon. She has got multi-strike attack, burst damage, and she gives your team rage regen, which basically means they get their ults back even quicker. She's got a double hit A1. She's got this ult. You can kind of see the imagery here where she just lashes out at enemies coming into her range. She's got the Sinful Lash in her passive, which basically boosts your attack speed. And then this is what I was talking about. This is why everybody is going to love this hero coming into the game. She gets more damage upon dealing damage to allies, which is part of her A1. She's got a chance to hit your own team for 5% of their HP. If the target ally belongs to her faction, the Nightmare faction, there's a 40%, it books up to 50% chance to restore, books up to 30% of your rage, 30% of your ult every time it happens. It's actually nuts. I will be doing summons for her. Check out on my channel if you want to that video when it goes live. But I would suggest download Watcher of Realms and give it a try. It's a super cool game. Thanks again, Watcher of Realms, for sponsoring the video. Don't forget the links down below if you want to get involved. Let's get back to it. If you're feeling that Valentine's spirit, by the way, we do have some juicy, I guess, yeah, like exclusive, unique HH Gaming hoodies we're giving away for Valentine's. If you want to get involved, come and join this page. I'll link it down below. And all you need to do is just go and subscribe to a bunch of the different HH Gaming channels that are around now. There's a few, it's not just me anymore. There's a whole bunch of people that get in the mix creating content. And we also got the Fateless channel in there as well. If you're interested in what we're doing in the Fateless game. Even if you're already subbed to some of these channels, if you hit the sub button again, that still counts as an entry because we appreciate your support, even if you're already a sub. So it's not just for new people. It's for all players. Anyway, let's get into some tier list shenanigans. Right then, let's get into it. So we're going to start off as we should. Should I just pick random ones out? Yeah, let's just pick random ones. Let's start off with Julina and Romero, both buffed in, I think, 2023. Could have been 2022, honestly. They're coming straight in for a C tier. In terms of their partnership, it's not that strong. So individually, as like early level champions, they can be okay, right? They can be okay champions. I got Juliana on the free-to-play. She's actually putting in some clan boss work. It's a slight misread on her poison. She actually places a poison per hit on the A2, and she puts a burn out there as well for a nice 3 turns. So she does some damage in like a clan boss environment. But in terms of Romero, she does a harder hit on the A2. The only place you're really using her is in Clan Boss or maybe Dragon, and you're not really building her to hit with damage. You're building her to do damage with the poisons and stuff, so she's not really gaining that great value. Romero is very, very weak sauce as a champion, even after his buff, and he gains this triple hit when Julina is around. The only time I could ever see you using this duo, unless it's Valentine's Day, is in Faction Wars, and even then, I'd question whether they're that good. Faction Wars, okay, fair enough. Faction Wars, yes, okay, we'll do it. Outside of Faction Wars, there's no chance you're using that duo anywhere else. Let's pull out then Countess Lix and Astralon. I've set myself up here because I don't have an S+ tier, and I've got to be quite brutal around where people go to make sure they fit in right, because these are great. These are a great duo. Astralon and Countess Lix both do a lot of damage. Astralon hits really hard and does an AoE stun. You've got Countess Lix does 2 forms of AoE control. So the two together are like wave machines. They absolutely annihilate waves. If you're struggling with someone like Doom Tower waves, they will take them down, no problem. Any form of wave content, they will do all of the work. So they're really strong for that. Outside of that, I mean, they're strong, but I don't think they're like God tier or anything like that. They're not like top draw. And in terms of what they get together, so for the A1 for Astralon, Countess Lix will team up an A1 as well. It's pretty solid, to be honest. You know, if you're thinking about even places like the Cursed City to get more A1s away against, I don't know, finite type bosses, pretty useful. Doesn't get a lot else going on for him, though. And Countess Lix, so she's a demon spawn. So she's doing that weaken when he does his A1, which is a solid kind of team up skill. And then she only gets this one here in a passive. So removes 1 random debuff from Astralon and herself at the start of a turn. Again, it's kind of good for wave-based content if you're starting to pick up debuffs. Pretty solid for, I don't know, someone like Hydra if you're picking up a bunch of debuffs. And she's also got the AoE decreased speed. There's a bunch of stuff where they can be good together. In the arena, they can kind of like stun, block skills, decrease speed, bunch of AoEs, bunch of nukage, whilst doing, you know, their kind of passives and stuff. So in terms of them as a duo, really strong. But their passive kind of like, I guess, synergies aren't insane. Okay, let's pick out another random one. Let's go with the vampires. Vampires probably up there in that same tier. So we've got Vlad and Konstantin. Now, again, both of these were buffed. Interesting the amount of buffed ones we're going to see in this group. So Vlad and Konstantin, these are strong now. They didn't used to be that good. They're both void legendary, so the chance of you having both of them is quite low, I guess. But you've got Vlad now, who hits hard, has got his kind of like AoE block active skills for 2 turns and drop defense. And he sets up Vlad. Okay, so a big part of this skill here is setting up Vlad. He's got here, if Vlad is on the same team, puts Revive on Death on this champion for 2 turns every time they kill someone, fully heals them and fills their turn meter by 50% when they kill someone, will fill this champion's turn meter when, will only do this part when Konstantin's on the same team. So a full heal and a turn meter fill if Konstantin is around. Konstantin's another Sacred Order. So yeah, looks a bit like it just comes straight from the boys. But anyway, so Konstantin, again, hard hitter now. So he's got this, will ignore defense if there's drop defense, block active skills, which your Vlad will put on, right? So even without the kind of partnership stuff, this kind of like synergy of skills is actually really good. He's getting 20% ignore defense on his A2. And then he's got this ability in his passive. So all enemies killed by this champion cannot be revived if Vlad is around. That's huge. That's like a huge, huge passive. He's already got some block revive for certain factions, Undead, Demon Spawn, and Night Revs. But when Vlad's around, he is actually a bit of a powerhouse. So he becomes really, really strong. Again, could he go there? They could go there, but I don't think they're quite as strong as some of these other ones we're going to grab. Let's do one of the old school ones then. So Talia and Fenax. Now, this might cause some waves in the chat because I'm going to throw these into the C tier. Don't forget, we're talking about their duo abilities. And right now, Fenax and Talia, like on their own, are pretty solid champs. Yeah, they're pretty solid. Talia can do some good damage. Fenax has got one of the hardest hitting A1s in the game and will nuke stuff into the ground. That's all cool. But let's see what they actually gain from being on the same team. Talia only gets the chance to place a bomb that detonates after 3 turns if Fenax is on the same team. I mean, it's useless. If they're still alive after 3 turns, or you're still alive after 3 turns, I don't know what you're fighting, honestly. It's the biggest waste of time partnership thing I've ever seen. If this was 1 turn, yes, suddenly we've got something. Raid, you should just make this change anyway. Useless. That's completely useless. No benefit whatsoever. And then for Fenax, as I say, he's got a massive A1. He's got a cool A2 and a good A3 as well. But his A2 decreases bomb duration countdowns by 1 when Talia's around. Useless, honestly. Like, just a nothing. May as well not be on my list. They may as well not be on the list. That's how terrible their partnership stuff is. So, complete waste of time. Okay, let's have a look next. Minaya and Khoronar. So, I'm going to go with B tier for these guys. Again, on their own, okay champions. I think Khoronar's a lot better than Minaya. I think Minaya's quite a weak legendary, honestly. In terms of their pair-up, though, it's pretty solid. Where are these guys? So, we've got, obviously, the Skinwalker for Khoronar. He gets a lot more benefit than Minaya. Yeah, so he gets a lot going on. Again, Void Legendary here. Already solid. Yeah, he's got his provokes. He's got, annoying buffs and stuff like that. But when Minaya is around, he does a full cleanse from this champion before putting out the block debuffs and increased defense. But he already puts out block debuffs. So his skill was already really good for him. It's not good for the team, but it's already really good for him. But he gets the full cleanse before he tries to do that. And he's also got here in his passive. So the passive anyway counterattacks when hit by enemies under drop attack, drop defense, or drop speed. And he does some of that himself on his A3, drop defense and drop attack. Will always a counterattack when hit if Minaya's on the same team. That's a really strong A1. So it's a really strong passive, and it unleashes his A1, which is an AoE hit. And again, if Minaya's around, attacks 2 times instead of 1, and he's got 100% chance of dropping turn meter. I mean, it's like power up level with Minaya around is huge, honestly. It's really, really strong. But Minaya, this is the problem. Minaya's not really that great. So Minaya, she's a healer, so and she can do some damage. But the only difference that she gets when Khoronar's around, so she gets this, fills the turn meter of all allies by 20% when she's dead. But she revives if Khoronar's on the same team. So without Khoronar being around, it's one of the most useless passives in the game. It's like, I'm dead. Good luck, team. I'll give you a little bit of turn meter. But if Khoronar's around, she gets a revive and she can keep healing and stuff. They're quite a good duo, actually. They, when they first came out, they were pretty close to game breaking. That's how much the game has moved on in that time. But I'd say now they sit in like a B tier. If you get them both, Khoronar becomes really strong, and her weird skill gets to go off twice. All right, let's pull out some rares. So we've got Seducer here, and I think that's Templar. It's probably D tier. It might be C. Seducer as a rare, actually pretty good. So he's got some cool skills, right? So what does he actually gain from having her around? This final skill gives ally protection for 2 turns and block damage on this champion for 1 turn. That side of it's actually really good for clan boss. But he's not really a clan boss champion. I guess he's got, I don't know, maybe I'm being a bit harsh. I think the problem is not him. So he's not the problem. I think she's the problem. Temptress here, ooh la la. She's got a leech. She gets an extra turn if Seducer's around, but she buffs. But she doesn't bring anything really to the table that you want. So even though she gets a benefit from Seducer being around, Seducer's benefit's quite high, but I just can't see that you'd ever put her in a team. So I think where I've put them is probably right, just because it's still super unlikely that she's going to get a spot in your team. Whereas he, with block debuffs, AoE hits, is actually pretty damn good. So it's a shame that she's so weak, because if he was paired with like an epic which actually had a couple of clan boss skills, I think he would get in a lot of teams. So yeah, just the partnership's not great. Or if she was just buffed to have a couple of like clan boss abilities, again, I think they would get in teams. Let's go with these sisters then. The twins, Sinesha and Skullcrown. I think we're going to be bringing them in the B tier group. Early on, when I first played the game, they were pretty A tier, if not S tier. They could still be A tier, honestly, but I can't put them at the same level as these guys. So I think we're going to have to go with B tier. But they are solid. Yeah, this is where it gets a bit harsh, because they are strong. So within the Night Revs, you've got here, on their own, they do a lot of work. Together, Skullcrown becomes an absolute menace for like low to mid tier arena comps. Yeah, she's got the double hit smack. She's got another smack on her A1. She's got the unkillable ability. And then if you've got Sinesha, she revives as well. So she gets to go again. The only thing is when she revives, if she's already used this unkillable, the chances are unless she's healed, she's not staying up for long. Okay, so the revive could be clutch. Certainly when I first played the game, I actually had this duo quite early and they carried me through almost all content as a duo. Yeah, because the other thing with Sinesha is when she revives Skullcrown, she does have this heal ability to try and get her back in the game. Now, Sinesha doesn't gain anything. So it's literally a one-sided relationship here. Sinesha's like doing all the giving and Skullcrown is doing all the taking. So I can't put them much higher than B. In terms of them together as a comp, they're probably higher than B. In terms of them giving value as a duo, I can't really, it's possibly even a C for the value they're actually bringing to the table. Let's go with a power couple. Let's go with Siphi and Rotos. Okay, power couple. First S-tier group. Yeah, now these two have been S-tier since they came out. Really, really strong. They've both been nerfed and they're still at the top of the tree. Yeah, Rotos, when Siphi is around. So already, Rotos has got an A3 which can kill anything if he's built well. Yeah, he's got an A2 which boosts his health up to make him a super tanky attacking dude. He gets turns like you wouldn't believe. And then on long fights, he's also got the ability to block revive. So he's very cool. You know, he's one of the first on the team sheet for live arena stuff. Now, Siphi really empowers him. So got here, will decrease damage from enemy hits so that incoming damage from a single hit will not ever exceed 50%. That's without Siphi. So if he gets hit for more than half health, doesn't take any more than half health damage, and then he cuts in and has a turn. With Siphi around, he decreases the damage taken by bosses by 30%. Okay, so in someone like Cintranos, that's actually really strong. You know, Amius just taking less damage, but it's the other side of things which makes this duo S tier. The Siphi is crazy as well. She's got all these great buffs and turn me to fill and stuff. She's got a nice single target revive, which is especially good for Rotos. Okay, so the reason why it's so good for Rotos is because he revives with more than half health. So the next hit that comes, if it's a one-shotter, he doesn't get one shot. So it's extremely important that it's over half health revive. But this is where it starts to get good. So she's got this heal on her passive. She's got a chance to just remove freezes and fears from your team, 50%. But if Rotos is on the team, removes all debuffs from Rotos at the start of their turn if they're on the same team. It's an absolute game changer. If you're fighting against Siphi and Rotos, it's horrendous. And if you're fighting with them, it's just like a lovely, it's almost like we can just clean it all off. It doesn't matter what's coming at us. We're still guaranteeing the Rotos a big swing. It's a crazy, crazy combo. So yeah, definitely the first in the S tier group. Okay, let's pull out the readers. These two love a book. I think probably C tier for their benefit together. So Barbarian twins, yeah, they're actually triplets. But for some reason, we've got Sikara here. We've got Alika. For some reason, the triplet didn't get in on the mix. She didn't get any benefits. She's like that. What's wrong with me, girls? So obviously they fell out when they were younger. But yeah, Sikara and Akira. So some of the most like booked champion, well, crazy amount of books you get from any champions in the game. So often Sikara is just like unusable. It's like, how many epic books do I want to invest? Yeah. If Alika is on the same team, she can revive with 75% HP. It's on a 7-turn cooldown, which is very long. But Alika is actually a very good champion. She hits incredibly hard with this skill and this skill here as well. Yeah, she's a nutty extra hit champion. She's doing loads of damage. And again, she gets that same 7-turn cooldown revive. I don't think you get the real benefit from these two for this passive. The only good thing about this passive is I guess you don't have to book it for it to work. It just works. Whereas everything else about their kits are just like 50 odd books or something. But yeah, if you're struggling with faction wars to keep people alive, I guess having a definite revive with a good amount of HP is really solid. You know, if you've got the boss that's just going to wipe out one of your team, you could focus that into one of these sisters, and ultimately the boss is focusing them rather than the rest of your team, and you know they're coming back with a good amount of HP. But realistically, it's only happening once because 7-turn cooldown is super long. Let's keep it moving. Let's go with Skulllord and Skullsworn, which is quite a cool... If there was like an S tier for niche abilities, I would put that in here for this. But I think in terms of where it fits in this game, is it as high as B? I feel like it might be as high as B because it's actually usable. This is not really usable. This very niche. This is not really usable or very rare. But then it's probably used as much as it. Maybe it's C. Maybe it's C. It's kind of fun. So when they brought this in, I wish that they'd done this, but I wish they'd given Skulllord Vargal the ability to do this passive with more than just Skullsworn. If it was like a cool epic, it would be way stronger. But basically, they've got here, revives the Skullsworn with half health and half turn meter at the start of each turn. Each turn. So the cool thing here is the AI will always target a weak target. If the AI enemies are always taking down Skullsworn, then basically the rest of your team are free to do whatever they're doing because Skullsworn will just keep coming back. It's quite fun. So against the boss which targets, I'm talking faction wars here, the boss that always targets like your lowest HP champion, you can just make sure it's Skullsworn. Keep getting him nuked, keep getting him back. Nuke back. Actually becomes quite a fun niche kind of setup. And yeah, that's probably the best use for it. As I say, the trouble is Skullsworn is not that good. Skulllord, since his buff is actually kind of good, got this provoke. He's more of a Hydra champion now. And the problem is Skullsworn is not good enough really for any content. He doesn't hit that hard. He hits okay amount. Doesn't bring any debuffs. Doesn't do any AoE stuff. Doesn't protect anyone on your team. So he's literally just in for damage. And he hits for an okay amount of damage, but not a lot. He's very squishy. He's very slow. So this is a shame. The partner is the problem. But yeah, quite a fun niche one, but I can't really put it higher than a C. Okay, let's pull out Crohnam and Djmarsa here. Probably the next A-tier group. Very hard to get because it's only available through referral stuff. And unless you are a grinder, it's just long. Yeah, it took me a month to get to level 50 on this free-to-play account. So you'd have to do that with 3 accounts and then a further 3 accounts to actually unlock Crohnam. You can get Djmarsa in 5 minutes. It wouldn't take you long at all. But to get Crohnam is basically probably realistically a 3-month piece of work of playing multiple accounts daily. Or you've got 6 friends that really want to play Raid Shadow Legends with you. That's the benefit. That's the hope. And play it for a while. So these two, I mean, they do create an awesome partnership, honestly. So there's a lot of kind of like niche stuff, but it's mainly about this fella here. Crohnam does a lot of damage with burns. Yeah, he's got triple hit here. Each hit can activate burns. The activation of the burns is what's doing the damage. He's got an AoE HP burn here with some turn meter stuff going on. But let's talk about what happens if Djmarsa's around. Because without Djmarsa, he's good. With Djmarsa, so Djmarsa's on the same team. Each hit increases the duration of any HP burn. So good on the A1. So he's got a double chance to increase HP burns on the A1. And then on his passive here. So every 10 times active skills are used in battle by either the enemy or allies. That happens a lot, by the way. This champion instantly activates Berserker's Delight, which is the A2, which is the triple hit Ignite Burns. This happens every 5 times active skills are used if Djmarsa's around. So it halves the amount of times someone has to do something for him to be going crazy. And you've got the active effect as well. So if Djmarsa's around, revives him with 50% HP and turn meter when killed. So this is how you start to get some of these kind of like crazy duo comps going with him and Djmarsa. I don't know if Djmarsa gains anything actually the other way around. She's a bit of a wet blanket as a champion, honestly. I built her out for the last free-to-play, and I thought she was going to be good, and she was just kind of like very okay. So I've never used her with Crohnam, but if Crohnam's on the same team and the sleep was resisted or blocked, puts decreased speed. Okay, and if this skill is used on Crohnam, instantly activates. But okay, yeah. So this is bonkers good. This part of it is bonkers good if you've got Crohnam. So he gets to do that A2 again if she's using this skill on him. I wonder if this was the 5th active skill, if she would go A2 because she's using it, and then A2 again because he's just going berserk mode. Like double A2s, I don't know. Like, yeah, as a partnership, it is actually really solid. Nice, like double buffs. Okay, let's go with a rare group. Again, this is kind of one of these niche ones. it's got to be at least B tier. I can't ask you to go and build these two champions. I've done a video on it where these two are in the same team, the dogs, and it is fun. It is fun. If you're just playing the game, you've been playing it for a while and you want something fun to do, this is fun to do. So you've got here Houndspawn, a rare, farmable rare from a campaign. What's he got going on? So he's got the nuke. You've got Hellfang. I don't think Hellfang's farmable. Might be though. So Hellfang, does he gain anything? Yeah. So we've got an AoE freeze on the A3. Yeah, so it books up to another 30%. So it books up to 80% chance to land, but it's only available when Houndspawn is around. So you have to have Houndspawn around. He does an AoE freeze, and then Houndspawn gets an AoE hit, ignoring all defense and block damage if the target's frozen. It's one of the hardest AoE hits in the game, including all legendaries. It's one of the biggest hits you can do in the game, but it's only available in that niche situation. And the problem being, they're different affinities from each other. So you kind of need to be hitting a team of a team of red affinities so that they're both either neutral or positive, or a team of voids. And you have to get lucky to hit the freeze everywhere. It's on quite a long cooldown, and in between they don't really do anything. So it's literally a one and done nuke, but it hits incredibly hard and it's quite fun. So I'm throwing it in the B tier, but it's very niche. I don't suggest you go out and build those two champions. Let's look at Ash's favorite here then. So Harrier. I don't even remember what her name is. Harrier with his girlfriend. Two of the prettiest people in the game. What faction even is Harrier? I've got literally no clue where he is. Literally not a clue. We're going to go with a guess. Bannerlords. Wrong. Sacred Order? Yes, okay. So he's in the Sacred Order. So is she. What does he get? He's useless. He's absolutely useless in the game. Will ignore 50% defense when this champion inflicts a crit. I mean, that's kind of interesting, actually. That's probably worth trying. It's all single target stuff. I wonder how hard that's going to hit, because 50% defense is no joke. That's actually going to probably be quite a nuke. What does she get here? Oh my god. This is like fake. What's it called when they do this? Is this catfishing? When they put a fake picture out? What is this picture? That's not her. That's not the same person. What's going on? Hey, it's not the same person. Anyway, what does she do? Does she do anything good? She's a little increased speed. So when Harrier is around, randomly revives an ally with 25% HP and block damage for one turn whenever Harrier kills someone. Comment below, has anyone run this team? Is this actually... Have I got this one totally wrong as D tier? Let me know. I've never run it, so I'm just going by gut instinct about how bad I know the champions are, but maybe it's better. I could be wrong on that one. Oh, let's go with one of... I think this probably was one of the Valentine fusions. Yumeko and Karato. So I think they're going to go into A. Now, Yumeko we know is an S tier champion, right? So don't think I'm rating champions here. I'm rating the duo. It's pretty solid as a duo ability, but Karato doesn't really get much of a use. And that's where it kind of like falls down. So Yumeko, all of her kit is nuts anyway. Yeah, she's locking people out. She's putting Hex out there, and just like basically then your team doesn't take any debuffs. Yeah, so she got crazy kit. But when Karato's around, whenever someone fills a turn meter of an enemy under Hex, placed by Yumeko, this champion's turn meter will be filled instead. Only available with Karato. So if someone else is going to do like a big turn meter fill, let's say Arbiter did, big old turn meter fill. No, we get all the turn meter. That's pretty nuts. We get anything else here? Also, so she normally places a Veil at the start of a turn. She's immune to all debuffs if under Veil. Whenever Veil is placed on an enemy, she can just steal it. So if someone like Candafron puts Perfect Veil out before he did his nuke, she's like, no, I'll take that, thanks. Only when Karato's around. So the improvement to her kit, let's say her kit is a 9.5 out of 10. I think the improvement to her kit takes her to like a 9.6 out of 10. Yeah, she was already so good. The difference having Karato around is quite small because it's not that much of a benefit compared to when he wasn't around, Whereas Karato, let's look at him. So he's a nuker. Damage, 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 damage. So he's all about doing damage, and he's got stun. He's got block active skill, so he's about locking some champions out as well. Grants an extra turn and resets the cooldown of this skill if Yumeko's on the same team and he kills someone. It hits quite hard, but it's not a crazy hitting skill. But there's a good chance he'll get a kill with this, I guess. Not at like highest level. That's the problem with some of these things. It has to work at the highest level for someone like a plat player to be interested in this. This is quite interesting though. So he's got AoE block active skills, but needs 0 accuracy if Yumeko's around. So you can build him as a full nuke, get the damage away. He will still put block active skills on the entire enemy team for 2 turns. The reason why I don't love it is because Yumeko should have already locked out their skills. So they're kind of doing the same job. This would be better if Ray changed this to like, if Yumeko's around, ignored a percentage of defense or something like that. So it's like plays into his strengths rather than tries to copy her strength. We've got a passive here as well. Damage inflicted by this champion cannot be decreased. Yeah. Whenever Yumeko dies, instantly grants a turn to this champion and gives him all his skills back. That's very cool. That's a very cool part of his passive. So I maybe have overplayed it even as an A, Like the benefit they give each other is good. It's probably about right. Who should we do next? Let's pick up the epics. Atur and Khalia. D tier. D tier. Again, this could just be me being negative, so I know how crap they are as champions. Let's just check out what they do together. She's got a burn. She's got some heal reduction. Heals his champion by 10% of the damage when Atur is around. And then the A3, triple hit at random, placing burns. Heals by 15% of the damage. She doesn't do a lot of damage, considering she's got nearly 1,600 attack. She does an okay amount. I mean, it's just weak sauce. Weak sauce. Boring partnership. Let's see what Atur's got going on. Atur is annoying to fight when you fight him in like faction wars or something, but it's pretty useless when you got him on your team. Okay, chance to provoke. More chances to provoke. Does he gain anything? Yeah, okay. So immune. Yeah, this is the annoying part. So in faction wars and stuff, you're trying to like lock down the enemy. He's immune to stun, freeze, and sleep if Khalia's around. But honestly, there's just no point in playing either of those champions. They're both weak sauce. Let's go with a more recent couple then. So we've got Alsgor and Jetni. Which is interesting. Do they get into A tier? I can't see that they're as strong as a bunch of those other ones in A tier. I think they're more like a B. Good individual champions, actually. So we're sticking in the same faction, right? Yeah. We've got Jetni here. Does some nukage. I did use her in the Cursed City for a couple of levels with Alsgor, actually. So she's got stunnage. She's got AoE here, ignoring defense. If Alsgor's on the same team, 75% chance, boosts 100% chance of putting decreased defense out. No resistance required, no accuracy required. Can't be resisted if Alsgor's around. That's cool. Again, it means you don't need accuracy in her kits to land this. You do still need it here, though, if you wanted to land your stun. So again, it's like, is it really giving us everything we need? AoE double hits, increases crit rate before she goes, gets an extra turn if she kills someone with Alsgor, and then she can do the second AoE. The fact is, you'd rather she did this one first, put drop defense out there, and it nuked, and then she did a second one, I think, because you don't really want to be doing your nuke, before you've got drop defense out there. So again, her kit's a little bit clumsy, but you definitely get a lot more benefit if Alsgor's on her side than if not. Both of those things are really strong upgrades. Passive here as well. So she does more damage against shield champs. Will ignore shields completely if Alsgor is on the same team. That's really strong. So all of her improvements are actually really good. Let's check Alsgor here. He's more about saving your team, keeping them alive. So he's got block damage for your team. This is really, really solid. He's got an AoE buff removal on the A2. So you can remove 2 random buffs from enemies on the normal hit. Also, if booked, 100% chance of removing all buffs if you've got Jetni as well. Again, and even if it's a weak hit, it's actually really good. It's actually very good. Passive as well. When attacked, 50% chance of placing decreased speed on the attacker for 2 turns. And it's 100% if Jetni is on the same team. I think I've undervalued it. I think it's probably an A tier, actually. The amount of improvements they get and the quality of the improvements, I think it gives it A tier. And do they line up with the rest of the champions here as well? Just about. I think you might use... I don't think you use this partnership as much as you might think. Yeah, I think it's probably right. Okay, Let's go with... So this is meant to be Gravechill. Frozen Banshee. Frozen Banshee. I think this is probably a B tier. Really good for an earlier game type of comp. So if you're like trying to do some early game clan boss damage, and I'd say it's only clan boss really, then these two partner up quite nice. If you've got an unkillable team and you just want a couple of damage dealers, these two partner up nice. You've got poisons on her A1. You've got drop defense, big version on her A2. And you've got poison sensitivity on her A3. That's all really good. And then Frozen Banshee, I've got to say, this is a complete fail. I thought they actually had some sort of synergy together, but it's just the fact that their kits synergize. They actually don't gain anything. So, sorry, just wasted a minute of your life. They are good together, not these two. And I shouldn't have even had them on the sheet. Right. Let's carry on. Let's go with these two. These are probably one of my favorite couples in the game. We've got Venus and Cupidus. It's definitely the one I've used the most. Or maybe these two. It's up there. It's up there. So they're part of my main account arena team right now. The buff these two got was one of the biggest buffs I've ever seen in the game. Yeah, like a really meaningful buff. And they become like the poster couple for a lot of raids Valentine. So Cupidus, he hits hard. So one of the hardest hitting AoE A1s in the game. He has got a nuke of an A2. He's got a nuke of a single target A3. And then he got this buff here. So he does 25% more damage. And he counterattacks whenever he is hit if Venus is around. The value you get from Venus being on his team is insane. You know when you feel this the most? It's when you're in early level Doom Tower and you come up against this couple and you're like, unless I freeze or stun Cupidus, I'm dead. Everything I try and do, he comes back and whacks you in the face. It whacks your whole team and it hits hard. It's brutal. I use it as my arena team on my main account just to like farm fast. I use it to get into plat multiple times. It's a really, really strong ability. It's like insanely strong. Going the other way, Venus has got all of the abilities for debuffs. She's got poisons, drop defense and weakens on an AoE, burns on an AoE, so her kit is really good. And then if Cupidus is around, she's got clean all buffs from all enemies, and then a 50% chance of an extra turn. The only way that this kit could be even improved is if that said 100%. So we knew what was going on. It was a guaranteed thing. That's the only thing I don't like about it, but it's an extremely strong partnership. Our next S tier group goes in the mix. Okay, then let's talk about these two, because this is probably going to be one of the ones that most people moan about. Kaja and Timit. I'm going to throw them in as a B tier. I know that some people are like mad obsessed with Timit in terms of like saying he's got crazy value. I know these two as a partnership can be pretty damn strong. And I've seen it. I've seen it in videos and stuff where they actually do some work. And I think, is it Shinny that really values Timit? I think so. Anyway, he's quite tanky. Yeah, he's got some annoying abilities. So he's got an AoE, decreases duration of all enemy buffs by 3 turns. Basically removes all buffs. Yeah, which is annoying. If there are no enemies with buffs, he gets another turn. Always grants an extra turn if Kaja the Rye is on the same team. So he might get an extra turn, but it's unlikely. But if Kaja's around, he's definitely going again, which means he's got AoE into AoE. And the second one, if he's not killed everyone by then, he hits okay, but not hard. Yeah, he hits for an okay amount. But the second one grabs his increased accuracy and then puts True Fear out. Again, if those were reversed, right? If this was the first ability, increase accuracy, True Fears, I don't know, it doesn't quite work. You almost want the increase accuracy part to be here. So increase accuracy, attacks all enemies, strips buffs, goes again, hits again, True Fears, with the increase accuracy already on. Because you want the increase accuracy to do the buff strip. So, but either way, it's quite a nice combo. And then on his passive, so whenever an enemy skill successively activates whilst they're under Fear or True Fear, gives him a turn meter fill. So if the Fear or True Fear didn't work for you, he's getting a turn meter fill. But the difference here with Kaja the Rye, whenever an enemy skill does not activate because of it, places provoke on that enemy for a turn. That's pretty strong, actually. So if the fear goes off, the next time they're coming after Timit. That's a pretty decent ability, honestly, for like crowd control. And then Kaja then. So Kaja has got some turn meter stuff going on. I think, is she the turn meter champ? Yeah. Turn meter fill removes 2 random debuffs from each ally. If Timit's on the same team, full cleanse. Then puts block debuffs out. This is a nice skill. The A2 revives all dead with a decent amount of HP and turn meter. If Timit's on the same team and dead, gives him full turn meter, so he's going. If he's on the same team and alive, resets his good skills. And then the A1 here attacks an enemy, heals his champion by 10% HP. If Timit's are on the same team, heals all of them by the same amount. That's not bad. Turn meter reduction for anything that's coming at her. If Timit's on the same team, this champion's immune to turn meter reduction. If an enemy tries to reduce this champion's turn meter when Timit's on the same team, gives him that instead. I tell you what, maybe even just going through the kit, I've been converted to at least A. It's probably as good as what's going on with Astralon and Countess Lix. It's just not hitting as hard. And the problem you've got is like, can I fit both of them in my team? It's like 2 spots taken up for turn meter and control, revive control. True fear and stuff doesn't go off against that many enemies. So it becomes like an arena comp or a wave-based comp. I guess it's the same really as Astralon and Countess Lix. So I think it's probably fair as an A. Let me know what you think. Was that A or B? Did I call it right in the first place, or were we right where I've left it? Okay, then what should we do next? Let's do the Cage Breaker and Towering Titan. Probably S. Not really. It's a D. Horrendous. Absolutely horrendous. What's going on with these two? Absolutely shocking champion. So Towering Titan, pretty weak source. He's got some provokes going on. He's got a passive here, so we'll transfer 50% of his damage to Cage Breaker during battle. That's it. Cage Breaker's going to die instead of him. And in the other way around, does he gain anything? No. It's literally similar to that Sinesha scenario. He is an absolute taker, and no, other way around. Anyway, shocking partnership. Shouldn't even be in the game. It's so weak, so useless. So, yeah. All right, let's talk Oella and Ultan. Is it better than C? Probably B. It's probably sneaking into B. I mean, these ones, so we've got Ultan. I mean, on his own, he's useless, honestly. It's really bad. Double hitter, each hit, 30% chance of placing decreased defense. Will ignore resistance if Oella's around. Quite nice, actually. Ignore 50% resistance. He's got here AoE sleep, ignores resistance if Oella's around. And then a chance to decrease the cooldown of one of his skills, 30% if Oella is around. I mean, it's okay. It's okay. You just need to build him with slightly less stats, but it's not like a game-breaking or game-changing, partnership here for those two. Oella has got decreased speed on the A1, no accuracy required if Ultan is around. And then on the passive, whenever an ally loses HP, just puts out a heal, puts out 2 instead. Instantly activates instead if Ultan is around. Again, it's okay. I think possibly it's C. I think it's a C tier, honestly. I think B's being too generous. So let's get into, got a few left actually. We've got some hard hitters left here. Let's go Belanor and Zavia. Now, these got a buff. Another one that got a buff, I think into A tier, honestly. 2 good champions on their own. Yeah, so we definitely got 2 good champs here. Zavia blowing up poisons, all that type of stuff. So her ability is that she gets a debuff spread when Belanor's around. Her ability isn't really empowered that much, honestly, because most of her strength comes from someone else setting up the damage and then she's exploding the damage. Debuff spread's okay, but it's not super strong in this situation. Belanor, though, so Belanor hits hard. He's got AoE drop defense and weaken and stuff, but cannot be resisted. These buffs, debuffs cannot be resisted if Zavia is around. I think that's all he gains. Oh, no, sorry. Instantly activates Overkill skill, which is his A3, which hits hard. Also activates Zavia's Poison Rain if Zavia's on the same team. So he's basically, yeah, I mean, it's okay. The main thing is this partnership piece here, because he is now a good champion, you still need, the trouble is, right, Zavia is not all about drop defense and weaken. She's about set me up with a ton of poisons and I'll go and blow them up. So they're kind of like 2 things working in a different way. And that's where they don't synergize that well together. Like he is basically going to go into a different style of team than a Zavia team. Don't get me wrong, Zavia hits hard and block revives. It's not terrible. Put these two in an arena team, they will blow a lot of stuff up. And the fact you can't have these resisted is cool. But yeah, they're not quite synergizing well enough to like go into that top tier. So I think A tier is fair. Okay, Cardiel and Sicia. We doing A or are we doing S? I mean, they're S tier champions. I think it's probably S. Do I see them together that much? Not really. Maybe their synergy. Maybe it's A actually. So they are obscenely good champions. Yeah, obscenely good by themselves. Like both of them do a load of stuff which makes them top tier. Yeah, Cardiel's just got loads going on. Loads going on. His heal and his A1 is actually obscene. If she's around though, so what's going on? Whenever an ally attacks, 15% chance to team up with them and join their attack. That's in the mix anyway. This champion will always use their default attack and always join Sicia if she's around and attacks. Okay, so that's the only benefit he gains, but his A1 is really good. He only gains this kind of like, I'll join in with Sicia and do some work if she hits. The other way round, Sicia, again, really good champion. She's throwing out burn. She's throwing out drop defense and weaken and stuff. Her passive increases her speed by 3 and damage by 3% for each ally under an enemy under a burn. If Cardiel's on the same team, all allies will heal as well. Actually, you know what? Individually, they're awesome champions. Paired up, they don't gain much. The Cardiel part's better than the Sicia part, and you could use both of them in like a finite situation. You get your healing, you get extra hits in. But I think it's probably a BT partnership. We've got the new heavyweights versus the old heavyweights. Honestly, I mean, they're S tiers. Both of these are S tiers. We've got the new Fusion champion here alongside the new Void Legendary. So Ancora, I think good champion anyway, but she does gain a ton if King Narcissus is on the same team. Yeah. So she's got a 30% chance of reducing the cooldown of an ally's skill. We'll always do it to King Narcissus if he's on the same team. And he's like an out-and-out nuke. We've got the A2, full cleanse for your team and a shield. If King Narcissus is around, also gives you strengthen. It's a massive extra buff. We've got the revive here. Revives one target with good HP, good turn meter, and a full reset of their skills. If it's the King White Narcissus, we'll revive them and give him 100% turn meter. And if he's revived, decreases the turn meter of all enemies which cannot be resisted. So he's almost, well, he's 100% going to get a go. Got a passive here as well. So whenever an enemy tries to basically crowd control anyone, she's going to transfer those to her, and they're not crowd controlled on a 3-turn, but becomes a 0-turn cooldown. But at the start of each turn, removes those if King White is on the same, the White King's on the same team. So she's not even controlled herself. It's really good. Like the partnership that way is extremely strong. And in terms of the other way, so this is basically now the second best HP nuker in the game. We've got here 30% chance, books to 50% chance of increasing the cooldown of a target's skill. Can't be resisted. No accuracy required if the White Queen is around. This one stays the same. And then the A3 attacks an enemy 2 times, increases the damage inflicted by this skill based on the amount of buffs that he's got on him. If he kills someone under 3 or more buffs, puts block revive out there, also gets an extra turn if she's around. Extra turn, could go back into the AoE. It's just nutty. And then the passive here receives 50% less damage when attacked by enemies, including bosses, out of their normal turns. So stuff like ally attacks and stuff like that. If the White Queen is around, this champion receives no damage out of their turn. Even like a retaliation hit from the Ice Golem, 0 damage. But it does say here, it does not work against bosses, so wouldn't work for something like the Ice Golem. But still, this is really, really strong. This champion also ignores shield and strengthen. So they're extremely strong. Definitely up there in this new S tier group. Only 3 couples in there. But hold on. We've got the Ukrainians. Honestly, if there was like S+, SS+, S+++, S triple plus, they'd be up there. Yeah, they're so far above the game, it's not even funny. It's not even like realistic. This Ukrainian duo, and it's why a lot of the top players are saying, look, these just should be nerfed. They're so strong, it's silly. They're strong anyway, okay? But together they're insane. So we've got a stun here. Deals double damage to enemies who've got higher attack than him. It's basically everybody. Whenever an enemy attacks Marichka, attack that enemy using this skill. The big skill. Man, he does a big AoE hit here. He's got the passive as well. Like, his kit's insane. He doesn't need all of that. Anyway, that's all he gets. Just like smacking someone every time she gets hits. Marichka, again, crazy champion. She's got attacks on an enemy. One ally will join up with the attack. If it's Taras around, it will always be him. He's coming in with the HP nukes. She's got the crazy skill here, the crazy skill here, and then revives everyone here. So I guess living true to what I say about this tier list, the tier list is like how much value are they gaining? In reality, in fairness, they're not gaining as much value as, say, the White Queen. Like, they're actually gaining less value than the rest of these S tiers, in fairness, right? You could even argue they could sit in A tier, but I can't do it because they're too good. I can't do it. But actually, the amount of value they gain, it's good, but they're just crazy champions. So to even gain a little bit of value, they've got to be up in this kind of like silly tier. Anyway, let me know what you think. Did I get any wrong? Did I miss any? I couldn't believe how many there were, honestly, in terms of these different partnerships. And that's it. Enjoy your Valentine's if you celebrate. If not, have a good day, and I'll see you soon.